This is Gabe Cook with Debate Kansas City at the Foreign Language Academy Middle School Tournament. We have a centralized senior who's going to help us judge, but before he does, he's going to answer a few questions about how to best use evidence in policy debate. So I'm going to flip the camera around here and we'll find Taylor Diaz of Central High School. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Gabe?
I'm doing all right. So we want to talk about using evidence in debate. First, why don't we start with how you cite a piece of evidence in a debate round? What should you read off?
Usually in a normal debate round, you want to read the author's last name and the year that he published his piece of material. So say this guy's name is, Taylor Diaz. You say Taylor Diaz, you say Diaz in 2009. So instead of reading off his whole name, Taylor Diaz, June 4th, 2009, you wouldn't have to do all that. Just keep it simple and Diaz 2009.
Now that's going to depend on your judge to a degree, right? If you're at a certain tournament, what do some of the coaches enforce with citations at certain tournaments?
Depending on where you debate, like if you debate at these Debate Kansas City tournaments, you might want to go ahead and say the entire citation, like Taylor Diaz, June 4, 2009, because it helps the judge to know like what this person's credentials are. I might also want to say like he's has a PhD in English writing from whatever university. Like it helps the person that doesn't have as much experience in debate know what you're actually doing, and like it lets them know that the person whose evidence you're reading, they know what they're talking about.
And what have you noticed?
Please contact room 119
and we'll
as soon as possible.
Take a moment with the announcement there.
Ms. Pommes, please contact room 119.
What have you noticed in some debate rounds that happens? What error have you seen some kids make when they read off their evidence?
Students have done various things in debate rounds. Some will just read the year, some will just read the first name of the author, some will read the last name, some will just read the day that it was done, not necessarily the year. There's not necessarily a right or wrong way to do this, but it helps not only the debater, but it also helps the judge know, especially if the judge's experience, it helps them know where you are, like when to actually start, when to stop flowing or taking notes, and when to actually listen to the argument.
And once you've read evidence in a debate round, how can you best make use of it? I know some people say extend the evidence. What does that mean, and how do I make use of evidence once I've read it in a debate round?
After you read a piece of evidence in a particular speech, you don't necessarily have to read the evidence again. You can say like, I want to extend this or mine evidence from read in the 1SC, which talked about how whatever the evidence mentioned, right? And so you say extend my evidence, and then the judge would draw an arrow over to your speech, and then you can give a summary of why this particular piece of evidence is so important that you had to tell the judge to extend it.
And that can be more useful than reading another piece of evidence that says the same thing, right? Because it can save you time.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time. You can say extend this and give a summary of why you want to extend it, and it keeps it simple for everyone.
What should you do with your evidence before a tournament? Let's say I have a file. What do you do with your files before a tournament?
What do you mean?
I mean, what do you do with evidence before you read it in a debate round? If you have a file, do you spend time working with it?
Usually before a debate tournament, I like to highlight down my evidence. Like it helps debaters, it helps debaters a lot if they highlight their own material, because then the debater knows what the actual evidence is talking about. So don't have your coach do it for you. So then when you get in the debate round and a debater ask you a question on the evidence that you read and you don't know the answer, then you look like an idiot. Like you don't know what you're talking about.
So if you want to know what you're talking about, read your files before you go to the tournament.
Definitely, it helps a lot.
All right. And besides just reading files, what else do you do in terms of your own research? I know you can find a lot of evidence out there that's already put together, but do you do your own research, and how do you go about that?
There are many ways that you can go about actually researching and finding evidence that you want for debate rounds. You can look at books. There's plenty of sites on the internet that you can go to. You can use search engines such as Yahoo, Google, Ask. Like there are many things that you can do. You can just type in the name or whatever you want to look for. And there's literally millions of sites that you can look under and find your evidence and go from there.
And why does doing your own research help?
Not only when you do your own research, it helps you become more knowledgeable about what you're actually looking for. And so when you get into this debate round, you don't sound like you're just trying to guess an answer to say, like in cross-sex. So if someone asks you, what does anthropology mean, you won't say something that I ate this morning.
Or a store that's on the plaza.
Or a store that's on the
Do you have any final thoughts on just using evidence in debate and research and all that good stuff? Just any final words?
As long as they read the author's name and year it was published and do their own research, highlight their own evidence, they'll be fine in the debate.
All right. Thank you very much, Taylor.